What up, everyone? On the recent episode of AEW Rampage Grand Slam, the match was headlined by the Elite versus the Mogul Embassy, where they were defeated with an upset. Head booker of AEW, Tony Khan, just crowned Hangman Adam Page and the Young Bucks as the new ROH Six-Man Trios champions. Back at All In, he did the same thing by crowning Adam Cole and MJF to be the new ROH Tag Team Champions. And for what? To keep promoting ROH on Honor Club while the champions only show up on AEW television? For us to pay $10 a month just to watch dark matches? Okay, I'm getting ahead of myself here. Since ROH TV's inception, they've held 2 pay-per-view events so far and were all successful. But what happens when the weekly TV series isn't adding color to the brand? You don't attract a wider audience. ROH TV airs every Thursday at 7 or 6 Central on Honor Club, a $9.99 monthly subscription. At first glance, it would have been ideal if Tony Khan utilized a platform to showcase signed young talent so they have prizes to go after. However, in order to have legitimate top ranks for each division, they would have to select a few that are established to carry their division. ROH TV started with presenting Claudio Castagnoli as a world champion, Athena as a women's world champion, and Samoa Joe as a TV champion. As much as I would like to recognize the Briscoes as the tag belt holders upon its inception, unfortunately, the late Jay Briscoe passed away in a tragic accident, which didn't highlight the tag titles due to Mark Briscoe having to carry on. As for the trios titles, the Mogul Embassy had been dominating the 6-man trios division since Tony Khan acquired ROH. While ROH as a brand has been put in good hands by the championship holders, it has become apparent that the weekly product doesn't have much flavor. In other words, the matches in the show don't really define what ROH is. That's no disrespect to the athletes themselves, but most of them are not signed, including with the partner companies, such as New Japan, which doesn't draw any kind of appeal. This is a result of bringing in free agent athletes that only add to the action, but don't contribute to structuring what ROH is. I hate to say this because I'm all for equal opportunity, but it seems like the show is becoming like a charity organization. It's safe to say that subscribers are paying to watch athletes who don't have involvement with ROH storylines. Like, come on, with the legends at Tony Khan's disposal, there is no sign of utilization over them to have involvement behind the scenes. Don't get me wrong, it's nice to see familiar faces from the wrestling world appear every now and then, such as Gringo Loco, Willie Mack, or Metalik. But there are so many young, talented people signed to AEW that need a platform to showcase that. This adds a spotlight to developing their careers and gives them the opportunity to want to rank up in the developmental system. ROH can be the home of the following: Brock Anderson, Daniel Garcia, Griff Garrison, Hook, Nick Wayne, Satnam Singh, Wheeler Yuta, Anna Jay, Sky Blue, Kiera Hogan, Diamante, and the list goes on. There could be a team of young stars wanting to regrow a brand and earn their value. ROH should be treated like a developmental show, like the way NXT is to WWE Raw and SmackDown. The history of ROH has shown that they have made stars straight out of their own training facility, the ROH Dojo. This setup can definitely help Tony Khan from losing any young stars to WWE's Performance Center, as well as investing in his assets right, making the purchase of ROH worth it. As of late, ROH has felt like AEW Dark and Elevation again. Even Rampage comes off more appealing on their best day. What's even sadder is that the Pure division isn't showcased as often to re-establish the identity of the brand. A tournament would definitely help elevate the championship status, and they have a loaded roster of technicians to book that. But at least Shibata makes ROH appearances occasionally. Speaking of showing up to ROH programming, that seems to be the booking of the tag titles and the trios titles. Before I begin to list the flawed booking, please don't forget to like and follow for more videos like these. Thank you. Let's take it back to the final battle pay-per-view of 2022. The event was headlined by the match between the Briscoes and FTR in a double dog collar match. It was a real 5-star match that everyone wanted to happen someday. Throughout all that brawling and brutality, it surpassed expectations. It proved to be a masterpiece, a homage to old school wrestling during the territory days. The Briscoes were victorious in the match, and they walked out with the ROH Tag Team Championship belts. This seemed like a promising future for the Briscoes, as they were finally going to get the exposure that they had longed for. Unfortunately, circumstances took a whole turn, with one half of the Briscoes, Jay Briscoe, had tragically passed away, leaving the younger brother Mark Briscoe having to carry on while figuring out what to do after his tag team chapter. This was then solved by producing a Tornado Tag Team ladder match at Supercard of Honor of 2023. The Lucha Bros were the winners who walked out with the ROH Tag Team Championship belts. After that, their reigns wasn't as memorable due to their limited appearances, so the titles were passed on to AIE Open. This was a team that would have likely represented ROH to the max. But sadly, their reign was short since apparently it was okay for AIE Open to drop the titles to Adam Cole and MJF. No disrespect to these phenomenal AEW stars, but there's no benefit to giving them those titles. Like, are we really supposed to believe that they will show up at the ROH show anytime soon? It's kind of insulting and a waste, if you ask me. Now let's move on to the 6-man Trios Championship belts. The Mogul Embassy had been dominating the trio scene for almost a year before ROH TV relaunched. They've honestly been receiving their best push in the brand as big and intimidating behemoths. Although, I will say that they have been needing serious competition lately, and the Elite were the ones to give them that. But I hope I end up eating my words if I'm proven wrong for speaking too soon. Now that the Elite are the new ROH Trios title holders, does that mean they will appear in ROH TV and be involved? Or will it be an advertising campaign prop to get more subscribers? I can't comment too much regarding the statuses of the World Champion, Women's World Champion, and the TV Champion, because they have all contributed enough to structure Tony Khan's ROH. Claudio Castagnoli had a hot feud against Eddie Kingston that had to cool down due to Eddie's injury and participation in the G1 tournament for NJPW. From there, Claudio worked squash matches due to also having involvement in AEW TV. At last, in this recent episode of Grand Slam, Eddie Kingston defeated Claudio, making him a double champion of ROH and NJPW Strong. Athena has carried the women's division on her back since she won the title. She put the roster on notice for what she's capable of. Nowadays, she's been working with 18-year-old sensation Billy Starks as an on-screen junior. It shows a layer of Athena's warm side for taking a rookie in while still being difficult and stiff. Samoa Joe has put bangers after bangers of matches since he's won the title. His ongoing angle with Stokely Hathaway has been quite entertaining to say the least. Going back to ROH, it's almost like watching and paying for AEW Dark and Elevation with some red thrown into the presentation. We see way too many matches that would commonly be aired on AEW Dark, and honestly, it's not fair to the subscribers. It's hard because my content was meant to elevate the greatness of ROH, and there isn't much to show for it. Now I'm looking bad with them. At the end of the day, y'all, we're in it for the clout. But this had to be said. There is no way the new ROH should consist of too many dark matches. Utilize the young and old contracted individuals to start collaborating. This will only strengthen the investment long term. To make matters worse, AEW recently lost one of their biggest female stars, Jade Cargo, to the competition. There was a huge buzz around Jade Cargo signing with the WWE. As we all know, this didn't come as a surprise because come on, she has that Vinny look. But what's adding thunder to the storm is how Jade worded out her response in this interview.
Nothing happened with AEW. You know, they're still them. They're still a phenomenal company. It's just I wanted to create something that nobody else can do. And where else can you create that leadership role? Where else could you be a household name? Where else can you create that legacy? I want to be in the Hall of Fame. There was no other place. I wanted to be at the PC working my butt off and working with the best trainers that wrestling has to offer. You know, I worked with the Daniel Bryans, like phenomenal guy, phenomenal, but he came here, right? So I thought that this is a no-brainer. I thought that couldn't get any better as far as in the ring than to come here and to join a mega company.
Hey, listen, I get it. Money talks. But the way that came off is that AEW has no value to its name next to the WWE. Like, sir, Tony, do you not realize how that makes your company look like? Re-establish the prestige. You literally purchased the entire intellectual property of ROH and didn't have a plan for how to execute this project? How about work a deal with QT Marshall and Cody Rhodes to utilize the Nightmare Factory facility, rebrand it into ROH Academy, and build new stars from your own power plant? Line up all the in-ring veterans that are just there at talent's convenience and give them a valuable role for the company as a whole. AEW has veterans that have done it all and they're really just there as tutors, not even as coaches. This is where I see ROH going wrong, and this is coming from someone who has been hyping it up since the year started. Whether this video receives attention or not, for what it's purposely worth, it's to see who else agrees to give Tony Khan a little boost and utilize his investments appropriately if he is trying to be serious competition with the WWE. I've said this in the video a long time ago, and it goes like this. Hustle inspires hustle.